It's been 6 months since we launched the Tracker Kawasaki British Superteen series at Brands Hatch. I'm here today at our technical partner MSS Performance with Nick Morgan as the first batch of Ninja ZX-4RRs begin arriving. There we go. So Nick, we've obviously got a semi-built Ninja ZX-4RR sat here on the bench.
Yes.
You've obviously been having a few arrive here since we've launched the series.
To get to where we are now, it's actually been it's been quite a lot of work, to be fair. We've sort of you sort of go into it particularly when you've got a brand new model and nobody had seen it. We'd heard these little rumours that we were getting a new bike and one thing and another, and then it arrives and then it's like, oh my goodness, this is wonderful.
So the bike has actually been known about since earlier on in February last year, when it was released in other areas of the world other than Europe. There was a lot of anticipation building from customers wanting to see it, wanting to get their hands on it, and that first came to fruition at Motorcycle Live last year, where customers could first sit on the bike, see how it feels, and give us their feedback.
First thing you start to do as a technical partner is trying to understand are any of the parts generic with the previous model?
Yeah.
Because that absolutely streamlines the process. And and unfortunately there wasn't really anything. but that's how it is,
Well, the BSB paddock it's a big community with a lot of different levels of racing included in it. So we have to have a starting level categories all the way through to our prize, which is the British Superbike Championship. And on the way through, each rider needs to develop, as do teams. So through those stages, the bikes get a little bit faster and a little bit more complicated.
So we're really excited to obviously be at Brands Hatch today, but most importantly when the riders come here in 2024, they're going to come to tracks like Brands Hatch, Alton Park, Knockhill, some of the most iconic venues around the UK.
At the entry level now, we're introducing the Superteen class, which is the perfect introduction to the British Superbike paddock. And it's going to be for younger riders on equal level motorcycles to develop their talents.
So last year I was lucky enough to join some media who came on the European press launch for ZX-4RR. So it was really interesting to see the journalists' initial reaction about this bike on track, and to be honest, they loved it. Again, lots more smiling faces when they jumped off the bike as well, and a couple of comments were they wish they were a little bit younger and I could actually join part of the series next year.
So the Kawasaki ZX-4RR has a really soft spot in my heart. So my formative years of racing began on the Kawasaki ZX-400. Now the ZX-400 is kind of what's given birth to ZX-4RR. Obviously there's a 25-year time gap in between, but it's a very similar engine and a 4-cylinder, high-revving bike. They're amazing fun. I think it's going to be a really, really good addition to the category and to the paddock. And I think that the level of horsepower is going to be just perfect for developing the talents of the riders.
Whilst of course we can spend as much time as we like telling these prospective riders that this is going to be the best race series going, we wanted them to actually experience it for themselves. So here at Brands Hatch and also at Donington Park and at Alton Park last year, we gave probably around 20 to 25 riders the opportunity to go out and spin 3 or 4 laps on the bike and really understand how it was going to feel for themselves.
Well, obviously it was interesting for me as well with my history of enjoying the 400cc Kawasaki models. So I was there, stood in the pit lane watching the first tentative laps.
There were lots of smiling faces when they came back into pit lane after only spinning a couple of laps, and I reckon if I'd had a contract and a pen right there, I would have got some signatures straight off the bat.
There are a lot of changes coming up in the British Superbike Championship next year, and this is one of the most important foundation blocks of the championship. So there's been a massive amount of excitement around the paddock and outside of the paddock as well. We're trying to bring in new riders, and it's a beautiful motorcycle, sounds amazing when it's on the racetrack. I think a lot of people are really excited to get on one.
And whilst 20 or 25 riders got the chance to try the bike on track, as I mentioned, not all of them did. And one pretty cool thing we did have was at Motorcycle Live last year, we had the Moto Trainer, which had 4 ZX-4RRs lined up, and some of the riders who didn't quite get a chance to try the bike on track actually jumped on the Moto Trainer, racing a lap around Donington Park on the bike. And there was varying success, but one thing I would say is that one of the prospective riders, no names mentioned, actually managed to do a faster lap time than Alex Lowe. As much as we had quite a few youngsters have a go on the Moto Trainer, it wasn't all youngsters. We had our MSS Performance guru, Nick Morgan, also spinner go on the moto trainer, and I'm not quite sure about his style, but he was still pretty fast.
So we've got quite a few riders coming from not just the UK, but all around the world, I believe, for the championship this year.
So we've got riders coming across from the States, we've got riders from Australia, from Europe, we've got riders from India, we've got riders from Ireland coming across, you know, and real world BSB, it's the best domestic championship, isn't it? So, and this is what encourages them to come, you know. So I think it should be, it's looking like it's building up to be a pretty amazing championship next year, it really is.
So we're expecting riders to come from multiple different sources. We expect really good track day riders, people who've got a little bit of experience on a bike. There are people that have already started racing in club racing, and obviously the bike with a little bit more horsepower than the previous 300 category allows the slightly bigger riders as well to remain competitive. And I think it's going to be extremely tight and competitive.
So what's the main differences between when you were riding the ZX-4RR then through to the ZX-4RR that we have now?
So the complexity's increased, and the thing is there's a lot more knowledge in the paddock, especially for electronics. The tyres have developed a lot, and you can't unlearn it. So it's very hard to ever say go back to basics unless you give a very, very basic motorcycle to people. And the ZX-4RR is not a basic motorcycle, it's now ride-by-wire,
Sure.
It's got a really nice advanced engine, the electronics on it are much more advanced than 20, 30 years ago, so it makes a much nicer motorcycle to ride.
It's really captured people's imagination, not just people of my age, but youngsters as well. You know, a lot of the kids who were speaking to up at the NEC, they love it. They were peaking off it. You know, they were just. It was almost like it's so filled a gap. It really had.
So going back to basics is hard, but in a category like Superteen, it's great because everybody's got the same set of tech, and
Sure.
It doesn't matter if you pay a hugely expensive engineer to come and work on your bike. They've only got the same little tools to play with as everybody else, and in this case there won't be that much adjustment. MSS Performance are going to be managing the level of each of the bikes, so they're all going to be the same.
We're going to utilise a company called Burridge who do ECU flashing. It enables us to basically fuel the bike and get it exactly where it needs to be, particularly when you're starting to run a full system. You know, we're obviously utilising Spark. So we're running a full system, there's no CATs, there's no lambda sensors or anything like that. So we have to manage that through the ECU. That side of it to us is paramount because we want the riders, it's the riders we want to win. Ultimately, we want to keep them standard, even standard air filters. You know, standard air filter, standard engine, same exhaust, same fueling. It's even, it's absolutely even.
The best rider wins.
Absolutely, 100%.
And certainly with the coaching that the Superteen Championship is going to have, it's going to enable us to actually just bring the riders on and show them the thought processes throughout the weekend. And we've obviously got some great level riders, former riders that are going to be helping to coach the new guys in Superteen. So I think as a package for the rider, it's not just about getting the bike that's the same as everybody else. It's going to be pretty much the included coaching and the how to work through your race weekend that's going to be so important in their formative years.
And then working with all of our partners and all of the products that we produce ourselves, we'll have a complete spares inventory there.
So the whole racing ethos in Kawasaki is Team Green. And Team Green is a huge important program for riders to hopefully try and follow throughout their whole career in racing. So what we're really hoping is that the Tracker Kawasaki British Superteen Championship is a springboard for the next Team Green success story.
I think we've got some great talent that's always coming through, and we are going to see battles of 15 people as far as I'm concerned.
Arguably the highlight will be Donington Park, where they get to rub shoulders with the World Superbike stars, because we're pleased to say that the Superteen series will actually be running on the World Superbike weekend as a support class. We're looking forward to seeing loads and loads of close battles out on track next year, and we're sure the best rider's going to win, the cream's going to rise to the top, and not only will that rider have the accolade of becoming the inaugural Tracker Kawasaki British Superteen champion, he or she will also receive a brand new Ninja ZX-6R to hopefully continue their progression throughout their racing career with Team Green.